Well, hey there. Welcome back to the second video that I'm doing for my kind of preliminary winding up to the Pacific Crest Trail. In this one, I'm going to talk about some of my physical concerns, because that is one element of the Pacific Crest Trail that is challenging. I'm going to do another one in a little while about my personal, the mental concerns I have, because that's another element that's, they're both equally as important and can drop somebody off the trail. But this time, physical concerns, and I have a few. I try to avoid the whole "at my age" term, because I know that, and I think I kind of touched on it real briefly in the last PCT video. It's an individual thing. It really is. I know some folks that are, in their 70s and in fantastic shape. I see them all the time. My son and my wife, they run 5K races. My wife for a while did half marathons. And I watch a whole bunch of YouTube hikers and things like that. And so I know there are folks out there in their 70s doing half marathons, doing, 5Ks all the time, hiking the PCT all the way through, the CDT, the AT, all the big trails, just doing that kind of stuff. When I'm out on the trails myself, I run into folks that, they appear to be my age or older, and they're doing it and stuff. So I don't like to say "at my age" I have a concern with blah, blah, blah. It's just me. I have certain physical concerns because I know me. Because there are folks that are younger than me that have even more physical issues that they have to overcome. I know folks that are older than me that have less physical issues, and they're just trucking along. So it's not really my age that has anything to do with it. It's me. It's me. And so for me, I think the biggest physical issue I am concerned about is my back. I have a back injury from my former career that kind of shows up just every once in a while. It's just very weird. It's a lower back injury. I will go months and months. In fact, I think now it's been something like 8 months since I've had any issue with it. But it will literally go months, and I'll do stuff like backpacking and training, and I'll do workouts and things like that. Not a problem in the world. And then someday I'll be out in the garden, and I will be kind of bent over in a certain way, because, you get kind of complacent, and you're used to things, and you're kind of in the middle of working something. You don't think about it. I bend over in a certain way to reach for something, and bam, I get this zing in my back. And it's just from there for the next couple of days, I have to baby it, and I put the heating pads on it and all kinds of stuff like that, because cold doesn't, I know you're supposed to go hot, cold. Cold seems to make it worse. So heating pads help it. If I completely baby it for a couple of days with heating pads and just kind of take it easy, it goes away. And then it's gone for a long time. So that is a concern of mine, that if I'm out in the middle of nowhere, I don't have heating pads. I know you can buy those little chemical doodads, little pads and stuff like that, but you don't really have an effective heating pad. And if that thing goes out on me badly in the middle of the backcountry, I can't just lie around for 2 days. That's not going to work. Especially certain parts of the itinerary that I am looking at so far. 2 days just lying around there will leave me almost out of food, and still 2 days away from the next resupply. So yeah, I just, that is a worry. It's a concern that will happen. I did have an experience. I was on a short backpack trip with my brother and nephew and a friend of his, and the morning of the trip, loading my pack into my vehicle, my back went out. I was still able to move around a little bit and stuff like that. It hurt and things, but I did not want to cancel the trip. So I ended up hiking all the way in over Castle Pass into Round Valley. It would give me a twinge every once in a while when I would turn a certain way, but actually having the pack on my back and just kind of walking straight forward, it was okay. I was able to do it. The real challenge was that once we were done hiking, being at camp, sitting down anywhere was excruciating. I really couldn't lie in the tent comfortably for more than in a certain position for more than a couple of minutes before I had to move, and then moving was painful. Anytime I moved, I'd have this electric shooting pain. So yeah, that sucked, and so I got no sleep whatsoever. So that's a concern of mine. If it does go, I think I'll be able to move on the trail, but I will be exhausted by the time I get out of there. And it's just, and I'm concerned that not giving it that rest that I usually give it will make it worse, so that I can no longer get around and move. So again, that's a concern. Another concern I have is my knee. Another old work-related injury. I did have a knee sprain. So far, doing hill training and stuff like that hasn't been a problem. I've been doing a lot of elevation change training, because I know there's a lot of that in the PCT. So I've been trying to get that training in, and I'll have a little bit of both my knees giving me a little bit of twinge now and then when I start out. But once I get about a mile in, they're like, okay, we give up. You're not going to stop, so we'll stop giving you little twinges. It's kind of weird. They kind of ache a little bit when I first start, but once I get in there and get things loosened up, it just seems everything's fine, no problem. So, but it does concern me if the sprain, if there's some kind of issue there, because of a lot of the up and down hills, especially the downhills, really work, that part of your legs and stuff like that. The last thing I need is something going out and stuff like that. So those are my two main physical concerns. And going along with both of those things is the PCT. It's not the actual ups and downs themselves. Like I say, I have hills around here that I can train on to get ups and downs and stuff. It's the the length you're doing, and the fact that it is repetitive every day. That's really what it is. I mean, I did with the Boy Scout for the kids to get their hiking merit badge. The final hike is a 20-mile hike that must be completed in a single day within a certain amount of time. I think they give you 8 or 9 hours. Okay, well, most hikers who are used to just hiking all the time, through hikers especially, you give them 8, 9 hours to do 20 miles. Especially what we did it on was a very groomed path, mostly gradual downhill between Folsom and downtown Sacramento on the American River Trail, the Jedediah Smith Trail. Man, most through hikers would just cruise that. Not a problem. And the time allotted, they could easily do 20. And we did it. I was with those boys, and they really did a great job. And I did it. I did the whole 20 miles and stuff like that. Came in at the end and felt good and stuff like that. And then the next day, I was so sore. My calves were sore. My feet just ached every time I stood on them. And so I just took it easy the whole day and stuff like that. It just kind of relaxed, and gradually it got better. And then by a couple of days later, little soreness, but no big deal. And just the pride that, hey, we had done the 20-mile day and stuff like that. That was awesome. But see, on the PCT, you're going to do something like that. You're going to do 10s, 15s, 20s every day. So, if I end up doing a long one and my feet are just killing me, oh my gosh, and this and that, and I can't get up the next day and just kind of lay around, I have to get up and go do it again. And then again, and then again. And that's where the whole PC thing comes in. That repetition is concerning for me, because it's something that I have never done. I don't think I even said it in my introduction video, so I'll put it out here. I consider myself an experienced backpacker. I've been backpacking since about the age 14. My first backpack trip was a fiasco. I talked about that in one of my hiker homilies. But it still hooked me. I still loved backpacking, and from that point forward, I was doing it all the time, whenever I could. And through my college years, any free chance I got, me and buddies would head out to the mountains. And sometimes my girlfriend, who's now my wife, we'd head out to the mountains and we'd hike all over the Sierras, especially in the Donner Ridge, Castle Peak, all that whole area, Desolation Wilderness. We do all that a whole bunch. Many trips up in there, a lot of good times. But there's a caveat in there. With all that backpacking under my belt, I still admit that the longest trip I've ever taken was 4 or 5 nights. Okay? The Pacific Crest Trail is considerably longer than that. You know, you were out there for months. So that's the thing too, is experienced backpacker as I am, I still have never been out there backpacking beyond about a week and never had to do resupply or any of that kind of thing. So all of that's completely going to be new for me. And that is why I also get the whole, and also I got it, again, full disclosure, full transparency. A lot of those backpacking trips, you know, you're going out there for a good time. So we would hike the first day, maybe a 10-miler in to a certain lake. And then we'd spend a couple of nights just lying around by that lake. And then we'd pack up and maybe move to another spot that we wanted to see, and then pack up, and then we'd head out back to the car. And we do this big long loop, but we do it in 5 days. So again, 5-day backpack trip, but only like 2 or 3 of those days actually carrying your backpack. Where again, the Pacific Crest Trail, every single day, you are breaking camp, putting it on your back, and walking for decent distances. So holy mackerel. So that's the big thing for the whole physical challenge that I am most concerned about is you know, these previous injuries. But my main thing is most of the time these injuries are just fine. They handle life. They handle all the training I'm doing and things like that. Even when I'm doing a little bit harder stuff on hills and stuff like that, it's the repetition that I think is going to be the biggest challenge. Can my body handle doing what I do every once in a while, every single day? Day after day, get out there and do it for a long period of time. That's going to be the question, and I don't have an answer for it now. The only way I'm going to get an answer for that is to get out there and go for it and see what my body does. And that's my physical concerns. It would be that in a nutshell. Yes, indeed. So, hey, that's my second PCT video, physical concerns. We'll see how it goes, and just trying to be open out there just so you know who I am and what's going on. So when I finally get on the trail, you kind of have this background. Here's what's going on with this guy. But other than that, I'll catch you next time.